Okay, Rachel, who's here for the very first time, I believe, in the official permanent capacity as the CEO of Tourism Canmore Kananaskis. Congratulations to Rachel. She's been acting, has just formally been appointed the role. Is here to give us an update on the pledge to the peaks. So over to you, Rachel.
Yeah, thank you, Sally. It's about 2 hours old, so that I'm CEO. Anyways, I'm gonna share, I don't have much. I just gonna share a screen about the pledge. And we talked at the Tourism Task Force, obviously, about a lot of pledges. And we had some presentations about pledges. And what came together here is, first of all, we are looking at a summer that will be very similar to last year. So we will be seeing a lot of Canadian audience with more probably Canadian audience from Ontario, BC, and Quebec. And and then there was a second thing that we've done, and with Ben and Jasper and Travel Alberta, we attended a Mount Royal University class on, that's called an Innovation Accelerator. And that's where we've learned about the concept about a minimum viable product. And what that concept pretty much means is that you're trying something out for the with the least amount of effort and the least amount of cost, so that you can see if an idea has legs. So I said, let's try out if we can put a pledge together that will stand the test of time and that we can then build upon. So we put a pledge together. It was first just in the brochure in our visitor's guide that you probably have all seen by now. And then we got lots of questions about it. So we put it on our website, and we've asked people to actually sign the Pledge of the Peaks to the website. We have talked to the Biosphere Institute so that we will integrate the pledge with the Mountain Keepers initiatives. The Biosphere Institute is not ready yet to release what the Mountain Keepers initiative is exactly. But once they have the steps in place, we will partner with them. And I don't know if you want to look at the pledge or if everyone has seen it. But what it pretty much is, it's like any pledge that we've learned about. It's really positive language, and it is a conversation starter to educate our visitors on the expectations that we have, and also to acknowledge, obviously, the indigenous land that we're doing business on, and that we are visitors and they are visitors in. So yeah, I just wanted to keep you updated, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Can we see the pledge, Rachel? Do you have it?
Yeah, I can share it. Let's just see how I do this. I typically have two screens, and I just have one right now, but bear with me. I'll pull it up here. So it's called the Pledge to the Peaks. I acknowledge that I travel, explore, and play in the Treaty 7 territory region of Southern Alberta. Treaty 7 encompasses the traditional lands of the Iyahar Nakota nations of Chiniki, Wesley, and Bearspaw, the Tsuut'ina First Nation, the Kainai, Siksika, and Piikani nations of the Niitsitapi Confederacy, and Métis Nation of Alberta Region 3. I promise to honor and celebrate the land, history, and habitants of this sacred space, for I am a guest in their home. I will do this by respecting the local culture, exploring with an open mind and gentle heart, sharing the space, showing care and consideration for others, treading lightly, leaving no trace behind, gathering memories rather than mementos, leaving rocks, plants, and artifacts in place, watching wildlife from a distance, keeping myself and the animals safe, preparing for my adventures, respecting the mountains and my abilities, and traveling mindfully, being kind to all people, wildlife, and plants. I pledge to preserve and protect these peaks for now and for future generations. And that's it.
Go ahead, Christy. Did you have something, Christy?
Yeah. Hi. So, hey, Rachel.
Hey.
Great news, by the way, about your job status.
Thank you.
So what happens? I guess I have two questions about infrastructure.
Yeah.
Let's do the first one first. So, did any other kind of body needed to be involved in this to kind of give them your feedback or approve it, or is it just kind of came out of the work that you did and there was nothing stopping it and you could just go forward and you went for it?
Correct. Yeah, it's the second one. Yeah.
Okay, and then what happens after they fill out this form?
So right now, as I said, it was a minimum viable product. So right now there's not much happening. The second stage will be, I think by now we have determined that it is a viable product. So we'll be working on it, and pretty much like other best practices, we will probably build on it in that we will explain a bit more on what the pledge is. Like, it's really positive and inspirational language, right? But it doesn't tell you don't stop along the side of the street or don't litter. This is how you open a bear-proof garbage bin. So there will be more communication right now. What is happening when they sign up, they are agreeing to, if they do agree, to be on our newsletter. So they will get communications from us and on all our social media channels, but also on our newsletters. We are always being mindful of communicating the sustainability goals and the expectations that we have for visitors. But yeah, right now it's a really minimal communications piece.
Sorry, I'm trying to take note. I'm toggling. Mace, go right ahead.
Thanks, Rachel. How is this in fact being disseminated? If I were a prospective tourist, would I even know about it?
So right now we have talked to tour operators about it, and the response was super favorable. A lot of tour operators in Europe are very stoked that we do it, because their clients, before they come here, they want to be prepared and they want to know what is expected of them. So they will be sending this out to their clients before they even come here. We have minimal budget behind it right now through the Rocky Mountain Outlook newspapers throughout Alberta, because we have identified Albertans as our target audience this year. And then there will be a more in-depth plan, certainly going forward.
Go ahead, Mike.
Just to speak to the pledge and put it in kind of a different perspective, is that I'm the current president for Canmroe Minor Hockey, and in our minor hockey program, we do multiple pledges, players, coaches, parents, and they are a very good reminder to everybody's etiquette, process, thoughts, what they say. And it works really well to remind everybody, and I guess from this standpoint of taking care of the land you're on and being authentic to where you are. In the hockey world, it reminds everybody, you see it every day. You see somebody about to say something and they bite their tongue going, you know what, I did pledge to that. So, this kind of process, although early, I think as it evolves could work out really well for Canmore.
Thanks for that, Mike. Bill, did you have a comment or a question?
Yeah, just just a comment on the pledge. I guess I'm not sure how much you're open to change on that, but usually we usually talk about air, land, and water when we inclusive of when we think about land. So might be good to just say that or include that somehow in the pledge. And also within the pledge, I see the words honor, celebrate, and respect in those steps, which is good. But I guess a second comment is that many of the indigenous people are aware of the 7 sacred teachings. They vary slightly from community to community, but generally those are courage, honesty, humility, love, truth, respect, and wisdom. So those are sort of like guiding principles. And that, rather than pick one over the other, maybe through a revised statement, just to say, we acknowledge these 7 sacred teachings when we're on this land. And if that could be somehow worked into the pledge, I think it would probably resonate with more indigenous communities, even though they might be slightly different. But I think the main meaning is there in seeing how the pledge applies to them, or it resonates with some of their own teachings.
Yeah, thank you for the suggestion, Bill. We're certainly open to change the wording on it. Like, it's not set in stone. It's just mostly on the website, so it can be easily changed.
Any other comments or questions for Rachel?
I'm going to be interested to see how this goes, Rachel, and look forward to, hopefully in the fall, you can give a report back to our group with some learnings and some insights and some data and things like that. That'll be really helpful for us moving forward.
For sure.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see where the work of this group ends in terms of the principles and whatever we end up creating, and how that may inform what comes of the pledge going forward. Hopefully, just like you were talking about the Mountain Keepers Pledge that the Biosphere is working on with Leanne, hopefully the work of this task force can also all inform the pledge going forward. Yeah, great. Thanks, Rachel.
Thanks, everyone.
And congrats again, Rachel. Well done. Yeah. Lots of good comments in the chat, so make sure you check those out. I'm going to turn it over to Stormy Lake. I'm not sure who's the show tonight, if it's Jason, Nicole, and Philip, one of you, some of you. Anyway, turn it over to you.
Thanks, Sally. I am going to share my screen a second here. Okay, can everyone see that okay? Awesome, thank you. All right, so we're going to just take you through a very kind of quick update of where we're at with the project, with the engagement initiative. So you'll see from this background that we have purposely selected. This is from the workshop that we did on the 7th. So just a nice kind of gallery picture of at least a portion of the people that were there. So let's go through this. All right, so just a very high level overview of where we're at, what we've done. So all our interviews are now complete. We've conducted 18 of them. So 2 more than we had originally thought we would do, which was great. They went very well, got some really good insight from those individuals. We've also completed our 3 youth workshops. So once again, those were connected with grade 10 students at both high schools in Canmore. And we had great turnout from them, incredible engagement, we got them to create some artifacts, which will be getting sent this week as well, where we had the youth work as a team after the workshop to describe their vision for tourism in Canmore in the future. So we're excited to see what those look like as well. Some tangible pieces that we can weave through the story as we tell the framework in the fall. The My Canmore page is holding steady at still about 568 visitors and only about 19 responses. So not a huge amount of response on that page, but we don't usually expect a huge amount of response there when there's already so many other ways in which people can participate. We are still primarily through communications pushing the workshop, as that's the most robust way for people to participate and share their voice. Public workshops. So the last or first workshop, June 7th, we did have 62 people register. We only had about 37 actually show up to participate. We sent an email to those that weren't able to show up asking if they wanted to reschedule. And we've had about a quarter of them reschedule, which was great. A lot of people, the reasons that they didn't show up that I've heard from at least were something came up. So it's a 5 p.m. start. We know that it can be difficult after work getting things organized to be able to show up for that start. But as I said, at least a quarter of them have rescheduled to a different date as well and do really want to participate. Our next workshop is next week on Tuesday. We have 97 people registered, which is huge. We had a big burst of registrations after the first workshop. So I think we had some really nice word of mouth move itself through the community and had, as you can see, a great registration. So hopefully turnout is higher than on June 7th, and we'll know more come Tuesday after that workshop. And then the July workshops are still, we're still around 32, 21 for those workshops. We still have some time to get registration up for those. It still might feel a little bit far away for people that are trying to figure out summer plans and all of that. One thing that we did do is for the July 7th workshop, which is a Wednesday, it was originally from 5 to 8, and we shortened that to be 5 to 7 so that it's less of a barrier for those individuals that maybe it's a beautiful day and don't want to give 3 hours of the time, but can do 2 hours of the time. So we'll still be able to get lots of insight in the 2-hour time frame, but just want to make sure that it's still as accessible as possible for everyone to be able to participate. Shout out to Mace. He was our first task force note taker on the 7th, did a fantastic job. We have 4 other people registered or signed up to be a note taker as well. There's still room specifically for the 7th of July and 22nd. So if you do want to be a note taker, if you have questions about it, feel free to reach out to me. I can answer them. I can quell any concerns you have. It is fun. It goes by fast. It's a great way to hear the conversation firsthand as well. Indigenous engagement, so it's been going really well. We've conducted 2 interviews with elders and 2 interviews with tourism operators as well already. Next week, I'll be chatting with 2 youth voices and chatting with the Métis Region 3 administration as well to get a sense of how they would like to participate. And then we're just continuing to reach out to individuals and determine how and if they want to participate as well. Community survey, so that will be coming up in mid-July is when it will go live in the community. So over the next couple of weeks, Philip, Jason, and myself and our colleague Bob will be working on what that survey will look like. And we'll share those questions with you prior to it going public. And then a couple of additional opportunities potentially for engagement that we've been chatting with Sally and Lisa about are a couple of additional workshops that we potentially will run. One is with the Affordable Services Program, so some participants from that program, just to get a more diverse perspective coming to the table as well. So that's being kind of thought through internally right now. And then also after an interview we conducted with Kaylee with the Cyan, potentially doing a workshop with young adults to get their voice heard as well. So a couple of things that potentially will happen over the coming months as well. And then in addition to doing the online survey that's already been scheduled for the community, so for residents, looking to also do a revised survey for Stony Nakota community as well, and get that disseminated through the 3 bands. Dawn, did you have a question?
I was just wondering if there's also engagement with the Nakota AV Club and the Nakota Youth Council, if there was any planned engagement with them.
Yeah, so Lori's still talking about those possibilities. So it potentially might happen. She's just in the process of determining what that will look like and if it's something that we should move forward with. Any other questions on where we're at, what we've done so far? We're in the thick of things now, really looking forward to the workshop on Tuesday. Hopefully we do have those 97 participants show up. It would be great energy to have that.
Anybody have
Was there any
questions? Go ahead. Do you want to give a note-taking plug?
Yeah, so I did a little bit of that already, but yes, like I said, if you have questions about being a note taker or want to be a note taker, please reach out to me. Happy to answer any questions you have and get you signed up. We do a thorough training as well so that you feel prepared to be a note taker. Again, we're primarily looking for note takers for the July workshops. So if you have the time, we would love to have you participate.
Nicole, may I just add something?
Of course.
If you know how to push the record button on a Zoom call, you can't screw anything else up. So that's the entire scope of capability you need to have. That and the ability to not inject your opinion too strongly into the conversation. So highly encourage it. Everyone who's done it feels it was a rewarding experience. It just can be a little bit daunting looking on the outside before you get in.
And even if you don't know how to push the record button, Nicole teaches you first.
I do, yeah.
Bill, did you have your hand up or was that from last time?
Yeah, I had my hand up.
Okay, go ahead.
Just to say that, yeah, there's, I don't know if there's very many things happening on July 7th or not, but we do have events that do come up that, you know, people might have good intentions about attending a particular event, but there are many issues that come up that pull our attention away. I believe we're having a cultural event on July 1st to the 4th in the Morley community. So it should be outside of that time frame of July 7th, but just to make mention that there's always, you know, things that come up within the Morley community. So if there's more time than the June 7th, or maybe if there's one-on-one sessions that could be scheduled, that might be one option.
Thanks, Bill.
Yeah.
Yes, we're definitely happy to do one-on-one sessions as well.
Thanks for that, Bill. And yeah, I mean, I feel like every time Lisa and I meet with Stormy Lake, we're saying, and what about, and how about, and they just tend to welcome it all. So go ahead, Christy.
Just a question about the survey. Will we get a chance to see that ahead of time?
Yes. Yeah, we'll make sure that you get a chance to see the questions that we're going to be asking.
Sorry, just to set a bit of expectation, this isn't going to be one of those 20-minute long, fight your way through the internet kind of surveys. We're trying to distill it down to the most essential questions based on what we're hearing in the workshops, because the shorter it is, the more participation we're going to get, and we'd really like to get as many people as possible to complete it. So if we're running a 3 or 4 minute survey, it'll be way better than an 8 or 10 minute survey. Mm-hmm. And I say that because it's so tempting to add just one more question. And if everyone on the task force added just one more question, we're probably going to be up at about 20 minutes. So.
I'll also just add, just from an incentive perspective, much like we decided to do with the workshop, is for those that do complete the survey, they'll be entered into a draw to win a gift certificate to a local business of their choice as well, just to help with that incentive too.
Go ahead, Michelle, and then Lisa.
Thanks, Nicole. Just wondering if the survey will also have opportunities for comments on it, or is it purely going to be a yes, no rating kind of system? I forget.
We will have likely have some open-ended questions as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Do you want me to jump in, Sally?
Go for it, Lisa. Sorry.
Yeah, I just had a quick thought about collaboration for the survey. And Rachel, I don't know if, or maybe it was actually the BIA that had downtown ambassadors, or was that TCK that has had ambassadors? I'm just wondering if there's a way we can marry the ambassador program, if there is one this year, with having either iPads or the survey available for people to take it.
The BIA will have ambassadors downtown, I think. Our visitor service team might be downtown as well. We're just not sure about staffing levels and visitations at the VIC yet. But I know that the BIA does have a couple of summer students lined up that will be downtown.
All right, well, maybe we can work with our economic developer, Eleanor, to connect with the BIA and see if that's a possibility and connect Stormy Lake with them. Would that work for Stormy Lake, or is that? Yeah.
Yeah, I think if that can help get the survey out and we have boots in the ground, that's great.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
I'm meeting with her tomorrow, so I'll add it to the list.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Emily.
Ron? Oh, Ron, we can't hear you. This is good practice right before you're about to present. I know, it's every time, Ron. Still no, trying.
Sally's just put a note in the chat that he's having some issues, so.
Oh, thanks, Nicole. So does anybody else have any questions? Thanks for that, Jason. Anybody else have any questions for Stormy Lake while we work on Ron's sound? Go ahead, Christy.
Just to comment, you know, when I originally saw that we were planning to do this in the summer, I thought, oh no, no one's going to have any time. No one's going to want to participate. But now that we're kind of getting into the thick of things and we're seeing the best and the worst of tourism in our community right now and in the weeks to come when it's getting so busy, I think it's really a lot more fresh on people's mind. And they're going to have kind of a stronger, more emotional and a more personal response to what we're going through versus if we'd done it in the winter, they may have already forgotten things from the summer before. So in a lot of ways, I think the timing's turned out really well.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Mike.
So I guess the Stormy Lake is because we've all discovered this now with QR codes and stuff. Is there not a way to maybe even just put a QR code in highly busy spaces that people could scan their phone over and participate in a survey?
Yeah, it's a good idea for sure. I think we could look to do that. It's very simple to create a QR code.
Probably the best way for the ambassadors to go through town. Filling a survey on an iPad is brutal, but just having a QR code for them to scan and do the survey on their phone. The survey is mobile friendly, and we find about 3/4 of the surveys are done on mobile. So yeah, the QR code is a great way to get it around in many different ways.
Yeah, as a restaurant guy, I'll never ever print a menu again. It's all like.
Thanks for the suggestion, Mike. Great. Go ahead. Let's see, Ron, is Ron still not available?
I'm sorry, Sally, just so you know, I have to leave in about 2 minutes, so I'll stay as long as I can for that, but then Nicole's more than capable to take any question.
She sure is. Thanks, Philip. Okay, Carol and then Michelle.
Just walk me through, how do they people get to know about the survey? I like that idea of the QR code too. How would a person know where to go and that there is a survey?
Yeah, great question. So we will be posting it on the town's channels like we have been with the workshops. We'll also provide you, much like we did at the beginning, all the task force members with a bit of a email template that you can use to send out to your contacts as well. So we'll distribute it that way. I love this boots on the ground idea where we can put the QR code out in the community as well. But primarily it will be shared digitally. So we'll be providing the link with a bit of a blurb on the town's channels to be reshared across the community.
And sorry, just to add, Nicole, we found that it spreads word of mouth very effectively in other communities where we've done this. So we don't need to have everybody's address, but it just gets shot out and builds some momentum. And the other group of people we'll send it to is a lot of those people we've done the 18 interviews with often represent large organizations or large associations, and they'll also be a conduit for us to get that out. So we speak into the Filipino Association, so now we can get, you know, the Filipino community to engage. We'll send it out to their community. So it's really, it spreads virally quite effectively for us.
Michelle?
Yeah, so it's being somewhat old-fashioned and not a huge tech person, and I know I'm not the only one. Is there any thought towards having actual paper surveys in super high traffic areas where you have multiple types of people, like for example, Elevation Place that's opening at the end of June? Because I just know from personal, like my father and a lot of his older friends, they'll go for coffee at, you know, an Elevation Place, or they're going to the library, and he will not use a QR code. He won't even know what a QR code is. He won't go to my Canmore. And I think a lot of our seniors are in that same boat, or, you know, if it's a 10-minute survey, I don't know. It's just, or can we hand out paper copies to people we know are not going to go online? Or anyway, I'm just wondering about that.
So, two quick thoughts. We have not had a seniors problem in other communities. They actually are online and reasonably fluent. And the second one is, it's about 10 times more expensive to do a paper survey than an online survey. And that's mostly in the collection of the data. So we're really reluctant to do that unless we have to, because we do manage the budget on this fairly carefully.
Okay, and it's in the collection aspect. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Go ahead, Carol.
If we come up with ideas, or can we continue to punt them to you? Because I want to help you get as much feedback on that. Where I'm thinking is, when we had World Cup up at the Nordic Center, I carried one of those iPads around and did those surveys that you were asking the ambassadors to do. So I would be prepared to take an iPad around and be at the I'm thinking the farmers market on Thursdays, and be at one designated place on a Thursday at a market with my iPad and in under some sort of sunscreen. But anyway, I'm just throwing out ideas, following up on Michelle, that, you know, in-person contact with people in Canmore, and I could do it off an iPad. Is there?
Yeah.
I'm going to throw that to you, Nicole, and just you guys can mull it over. If it's not reasonable, okay.
No, I mean, we appreciate the help for sure. So, and feel free to send us any other ideas that come up. We'll be working through the logistics of this over the next couple of weeks as we start to build the survey as well. So yes, by all means, please feel free to forward any ideas to us, and any ways in which the task force wants to help to get that survey out as well.
Thanks.
Ron, are you with us? Are you able to speak?
Yes. So all I was going to say was that yeah, the issues between Windows and Dell continue to plague us. No, I was just going to say, with the museum having a bit of a visitor information center downtown, we're happy to take an iPad too, and be able to distribute that during the summer as well. So any assistance that we can give you guys, we're happy to do so.
Wonderful. Thanks, Ron.
Yeah, thanks, Ron. That would be great. Anybody have anything else for Stormy Lake? Okay, great. Thanks, Nicole and Philip and Jason. Always appreciate hearing from you.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having us again.
Anytime. Then that leaves our final speaker for the evening, Ron, on the phone. I'll hand it over to you, Ron. Hopefully, if you don't have presenter status, just let me know. If you can you share your screen? You sure can.
Well, thanks everybody for the opportunity to be able to present the Canmore Museum's new direction. It's a pleasure to meet all of you. In other times we would have been meeting in person, and that would be great. Just want to say that recently, on April 15th, the Canmore Museum adopted a new strategic plan. I'm happy to run through this. There's going to be a lot more slides here than what we can run through in 20 minutes, but this is for your information. Everybody will have an opportunity to get a copy of this, and feel free to email me, and there's additional information at the back of the presentation as well. So with the new Canmore Museum Reimagined strategy, we've adopted a new museum model. We did extensive community consultation, both by survey. We also did some focus groups. We had a stakeholder forum where we heard from different groups in the community about issues that were facing the community. And one of the things that we really looked at in terms of the museum is that oftentimes in museums, it's a very transactional model. So visitors come in, they pay their admission, they go through the museum, they might buy something in the gift shop, and out they go to the 4.65 million people a year that visit the Canadian Rockies. And we wanted to be looking at a different type of relationship with both with our community and with our visitors. And so we landed on this model called the social museum model, which is a place where visitors can create, share, and connect with one another in ways that are representative of the community, co-created by the community, and welcoming for all the community. And with that, we also looked at where do we connect with our visitors? Is it just here at the museum? And we looked at this much more broadly. And I have to say, the pandemic has really kind of, for a number of museums globally, have forced us to rethink how we do business. So the traditional model, which is on-site programming, where we connect with audiences on our physical locations, the Canmore Museum and the Northwest Mounted Police Barracks, through on-site exhibition programs and services. But what we also want to do is to think about the community as our museum, connecting with visitors to the power of place by connecting them to our cultural, built and natural landscapes through remarkable and meaningful experiences. And we wanted to continue to build that relationship with people. And you'll see here in a minute some of the audiences of who we connect with. And that is that we build relationships with our community, both full-time and part-time residents and visitors, through digital programming. And we started slow at the beginning of the pandemic, and we're raring to go here with a number of new websites and a number of digital programming that we're finding that has gotten national uptake. Our latest learning series has got people from almost every province participating. And that is that we build relationships with those audiences through our digital programming, such as Stories That Matter, Places That Matter, and the Museum at Home digital programming sites. And then also, and we'll talk a little bit about this further, is our Museum at School program, which is where we're building relationships with grade 3 to 7 students through the museum program, and where we connect students with the museum and with the Canmore community and our local landscapes. 4 ways that this plan supports tourism is that it connects visitors with local residents in a meaningful, safe, and respectful way. We connect and educate visitors about our cultural, natural, and built landscapes. And we connect visitors with local arts, culture, and history through programs and tourism products. And we promote Canmore's culture and history, both locally, regionally, and internationally. There's 4 new strategic pillars that we organize our work under now. And one is that we're building community. We're connecting our communities through social bridging, fostering social cohesion, and creating social capital. We're building place. We're connecting our community to traditional Indigenous knowledge about place, to our built environment and its myriad stories, and to our natural environment. And we're building memory, connecting our community to the interconnected web of lived experiences, culture, and language, our tangible, intangible, and built heritage from 10,000 years of human habitation in the Bow Valley region. And building sustainability, connecting our community to ways to address social and organizational issues and stewardship. I'm going to run through these next pillars really quick, and I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on this, except for areas where it really touches the tourism platform. So building community is all about how does the Canmore Museum build a stronger, more connected community by bringing people together from all walks of life around local art, culture, heritage, and places in unexpected ways, which fosters dialogue and deepens social connections. And part of that is a space for visitors to connect with locals and showcasing local culture and understanding of place. We do that through a number of new programs, the Canmore Human Library, our signature Novel Ideas series, and the Stories to Canmore Book Club. Bill, who's still on the call, is participating in our last book club learning club program at the end of the month, which is all about place names, animals, and environment. We also do this with our Heritage Garden program. It's a volunteer-driven garden program which benefits the Canmore Food Bank and links the communities to such topics as local food sustainability, Indigenous traditions, and heritage gardening techniques. The Canmore Campfire program will be for next summer, and we are very excited to announce that today that we are launching our Indigenous Stories program effective on January 26th. So this is we're erecting a teepee on the grounds of the Northwest Front Police Barracks, and we'll be programming that 5 days a week in July and August, and that will be led by the Stoney Nakoda Eco Company and Nakoda Teepee. And then, of course, our Museum at School program, which connects the museum, community knowledge keepers, including Indigenous knowledge keepers, students and teachers spanning grades 3 to 7, and an opportunity to explore built-in natural landscapes through classroom and independent learning activities. We're really, one of the things that we've dropped off of our name is the Geoscience Center. We're finding that a lot of people are coming in here looking for that real heavy geoscience component. Instead, what we've replaced it with is this concept around building place and connection to the Bow Valley and to our natural landscapes. And we do that through 3 different ways: facilitating the ability for Stoney Nakoda and other Indigenous people to share their stories and sense of place with our community, to connect the community to our built environment and the stories that these structures and places tell, and connect people to the natural environment outside of the Canmore Museum. And some of the programs that we're going to be launching in the next year includes a new website called Places That Matter. It's a digital storytelling platform that allows self-guided exploration of the places, whether they be buildings, spaces, places, landmarks, natural places, events, or people that have helped shape the Canmore experience over 10,000 years. And that also includes the Canmore's Coal Mining Heritage digital walking tour. So you'll be able to take your phone and be able to explore those sites that are relevant to that story. And we're hoping to continue to build that storytelling platform as well, so tell many other community stories on your phone. It's a great tourism product. We're also, the third pillar is around building memory. This is more or less what people would consider the traditional museum role, where we deepen connection to the interconnected web of over 10,000 years of human history, told through multiple perspectives. That's through our core collection and our new education collection. It's about documenting the tangible and intangible heritage of Canmore's cultural community and their cultural and heritage practice and memories. And it's identifying, documenting, and protecting Canmore's historic places in ways that include all aspects of our public, including the Stoney Nakoda people. We're really excited. This is something that we just are able to announce today as well, that we've been accepted onto the Google Arts and Culture platform. We are one of only 25 museums across Canada, including the Royal BC Museum, the Royal Ontario Museum, more locally, the Music Museum in Calgary. And it gives us an opportunity to promote Canmore's culture and heritage to a very global audience. So you can see there some examples of the Niagara on the Lake is in a community very similar to ours, Royal BC Museum and others, telling 105 different stories with a whole range of artifacts and photographs available online for people across the globe to explore. There's over 2,000 museums that are part of this platform. It has huge uptake in both Europe and the United States. So, and it also expands our Google profile. So when you hit a museum that's participating in this platform, you get a lot more information on your Google listing as well, which is good for us. We also have got a number of other projects, including a collection reorganization project. We have a new video series that's part of our digital streaming program online called Stories of My Life with Gary Stevenson. It's 8 different episodes ranging between 10 minutes and an hour and 30 minutes. Also, his mind tours are also part of that program. And we're also going to be launching the same day a new storytelling platform called Canmore Stories That Matter. For those of you who are familiar with kind of the local history books that were published in the 1980s and early 1990s that were quite popular, this is a 21st century edition version of that allows people to submit their stories and photographs, videos of stories that matter to them and to the community. And we're also here to build sustainability. We know from our visitor services surveys and our community focus groups that Canmore places high value on its sense of community, strong community identity, and on environmental sustainability. In partnering with other community organizations and local government to help foster community environmental sustainability, the Canmore Museum will strengthen its own organizational viability, identity, and sustainability. So we want to know what people value about their local culture and heritage. We want to know how they value their engagement with the natural environment, what's important to them. And then also we want to look at and create sustainability and long-term sustainability in our own business model and practices. And that includes a commitment to equity, diversity, and inclusion within our board, staff, and volunteers. Will help focus our work to provide broad, affordable access to the community for our programs and services. And that includes here's some examples of those programs that we're going to be launching again this summer. One is Community Day, where once a month we have a free day for local residents to come to the museum. We partner with a local organization who will be doing a tabletop presentation and kind of a brown bag lunch talk. And then they will also have our community gallery where they can put up a display for the entire month for visitors that are coming into Canmore to learn more about that organization and how we partner together. Twice a year, we'll be doing an on-the-table presentation, which is a facilitated forum around community issues related to arts, culture, heritage, and place. One of our first forums, which is on the day that we launched the museum on April 15th, is available online if you're interested in taking a listen to that. It's about an hour-long presentation. We've also enrolled a new digital membership card, and this gives members an opportunity to, for really extended benefits. It allows them to access a whole range of other programs and services that are exclusive to members, and it also links our membership to local businesses who are also participating in this program. And last but not least, part of this is also our Museum at Home on-demand service. So it's a Netflix-like platform. And there's we've got almost over 100 hours worth of digital programming that we'll be launching this program with, including the Huling documentary that Bill was talking about earlier. So how do we support a sustainable tourism economy? So a lot of what we've been asked about our new strategic plan is really around, okay, this is great. You're focusing on community. This is exactly what a community museum does, but where does the visitor fit into this? And for us, not only do we want to ensure that visitors that are coming into the community can learn more about the community, which is part of our memorable places portion of our strategy, but we also want to create inclusive spaces. So one of the programs that we are launching or working with just in the last couple of weeks is Rainbow Connects, a national program which we now belong to that promotes the museum as an inclusive place for LGBTQ visitors and others. We know that when people see the little rainbow flag in the bottom of corner of a window, they know that that place is not only safe and welcoming for LGBTQ, but probably many other communities that may or may not feel terribly safe in some communities. We also want to create safe places. So along with the Rainbow Connect program, we're also participating in the Safe Travel Stamp program, and we're upholding those standards this summer. And one of the things that Rachel and I are actually going to be meeting on tomorrow is about how we can support the Pledge to Peaks initiative by highlighting the stories behind some of Canmore's mountains and peaks, both from an Indigenous and heritage perspective on our digital program stream, the Stories That Matter platform. Bill will be doing his presentation at the end of the month. We're going to be taking excerpts of that and also including that on our Stories That Matter platform. So to wrap this up, and I don't want to take up everybody's time tonight too much, but in summary, we really see our role in tourism as creating opportunities for visitors to connect with their community and its heritage in respectful, meaningful, safe, and sustainable ways. And if you're interested in learning a little bit more, you can see the link on the bottom of the the page here, canmoremuseum.com/reimagined. So I'm happy to take any questions, or if there's anybody that has any thoughts around some of the new direction that we're taking. And sorry about having to use the phone, but like I said, we're having some issues with between Dell and Windows 10. So.
Phew, Ron. I mean, you just take a second and exhale. That's a lot in a short amount of time. Does anybody have any questions or comments for Ron? Great. Go ahead, Christy.
I just have a comment. One of the things that I think is insightful about what you've just walked us through, and maybe it just wasn't included in this presentation, but it feels like at no point are you guys defining what Canmore is, and telling visitors that when they come here, this is what they're going to discover at Canmore, and instead it's really open-minded. It's saying discover for yourself, and I really appreciate that that journey that we're offering visitors. And I think for our group, we struggled quite a bit with trying to come up with a final definition of what is Canmore and what do we stand for in Canmore. And here you're showing us that maybe we don't even need to do that at all.
Yeah. No, and I think one of the things, and we've certainly have identified that. And when we did our community survey, we really saw the whole range of those type of comments and those perspectives as well. What we're hoping to do is to be able to provide enough contact with enough different perspectives that people can come up with their own idea of what Canmore is. Their experience with Canmore will change and continue to grow as we develop our working relationship with our visitors that are coming into our community and with our local residents, whether they be full-time or part-time. So that understanding of Canmore will grow as their relationship with the museum and Canmore residents grow as well. So.
Yeah, thanks for that, Christy. It's a great insight. Bill, go ahead.
Thank you. Ron, I was just curious about the logo there. Is that the logo going to be used for the museum, the bird?
Yes. So that was part of our new branding that was launched in September, and we chose the raven very specifically because of its, and it's a very popular bird, and also some of the significance that it holds to many of the Indigenous groups that are part of the region have been a part of this area for a very long time.
Yeah, I guess I would just say that if at all possible, I guess my comment would be there's the Crow's Nest Past in Stony. We call that Gare Gamibe, and that is to reflect that it's actually, the translation is Raven's Nest Past, because in the same way with the Crow Indian people down in the States, the Stony translation, they're similar, the Raven people. And that's just to reflect that we didn't have crows in the old days. Those were a non-indigenous bird, very much like the ravens on the West Coast. So many of the place names that we think about as like Crow's Nest Pass, those are the actual Stony translation is Raven's Nest Pass and that sort of thing. But just to bring it home a little bit, so I was just kind of reminded of that when I saw the logo, and perhaps in the future, or maybe an alternate logo might be more reflective of a wolf in the shade of some willows or that sort of thing. That just to tie in that place name for that place. But just a suggestion.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate that perspective, Bill. And so this is a temporary logo that we're using until over the next number of years, but I'm certainly happy to look at that as well. So thanks for your input on that, Bill. I'm happy to work with you on that.
Great. Thank you, Ron.
Yeah.
Anyone else have any comments, questions for Ron? Ron, I think you can stop sharing your screen when it's convenient for you. Really an impressive amount of things going on. Go ahead, Lisa.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I had to step away for a few minutes, so I might have missed this, Ron. But did you get into the demographics of who comes to the museum and how many are visitors versus locals? Or I'm just wondering if you have those kinds of statistics.
We do not have that. So part of our, our first year being reopened, and we're hoping that we'll be staying reopened, we'll be gathering that information as well. So we do know that from our visitor surveys and also from our focus group work, that where most of those folks that are local that are participating and generally are in that 40 to 54 age range, and they generally have been here between 5 and 15 years. So those are people that self-identify as people that are members, as well as people that are connected to the museum. So that is one demographic that we do have.
Okay, thank you. And I know you're do a lot of school programming. Are you continuing to do that locally and changing sort of the programming curriculum to mirror the new direction of the museum?
Yes. So this is where the Museum at School program. So we're running 2 program streams. One of the things that we're very keen about exploring is relationships with our community and with local and regional schools, and tying those classes, particularly between grades 3 and 7, to not only the museum, but to the local community. So ways that we can tie local knowledge keepers and the local environments, whether they be cultural, built, or natural, with the classroom experience. That's what the whole Museum at School approach is. So we're working really hard to bring that and launching that for August with grade 3, and we'll be launching successive years. We still continue to offer a one-off field trip experiences for students as well. So classes can book a one-time field trip. It's about an hour and a half long. And then but there's not a lot of additional support. With the Museum at School program, we have 10 learning modules that are being designed in partnership with local teachers in each one of those grade levels, along with a new website that has a lot of digital resources. And then there's also what was much kind of like our human library. There's also a library of knowledge keepers that teachers can book as part of that program to come and actually talk to their classroom. So along with the 10 pre-prescribed learning modules, they also get 3 custom modules that we will work on teachers to actually develop and bring to the classroom. And that could be local knowledge keepers, it could be a field trip, it could be a range of different learning experiences based on what the teacher wants in their curriculum for the year.
Great, thank you.
Hey, you're welcome.
Carol, did you have something?
It was just an opportunity to speak with this group and say, Ron, the comments, I hope you are reading the comments section, that truly, I do believe you have taken the Canmore Museum into the modern digital era, and I am wowed. I have participated on many of your new programs, but you know, I, as a digital person with COVID and all these things, I went to the group of 7 art gallery in Kleinburg, Ontario. And when I was on that one, there were people from around the world. And you have now brought Canmore's platform worldwide by being recognized, as you said, Google Arts and Culture. And I am just so proud to be a member of this community to see you take the Canmore Museum from what used to be just a geological history coal mining center into the new platform. I need to say something out loud rather than written. So thanks, Sally, for giving me that opportunity.
Well, thank you. And you know, and this ties in with our tourism strategy as well. So one of the things that Rachel and I have had a lot of conversations about, and we're going to continue that conversation over breakfast tomorrow morning, is really around how can we continue to use the museum as one partner that can help build relationships with people that are coming into our community and keep them connected to our community so that they want to keep coming back. Because we feel that those visitors that are emotionally connected to our community are going to be less likely to be damaging our local environment, throwing their trash beside the trash can, not parking properly. If they learn about their community and are connected to the community, they'll take equal pride in our community as well. So we're looking at how we can continue to, how we can partner together to build that and strengthen that relationship building. Okay.
If you're having a breakfast meeting with Rachel tomorrow, Ron, we shouldn't keep you much longer here. That's a lot to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and thank you, Ron, for punting once again with the technology and
yeah, no, it's my computer, so I appreciate everybody's patience with this, and sorry for coming into this late, but I had to run from home down to the museum to be able to jump in. So thanks so much.
Well, you managed it beautifully, so thank you so much for being here, Ron. We really appreciate it. And I think it was Carol who suggested we invite you, so thanks for that, Carol. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Take care. Yeah.
And then that just leaves, I think that just leaves wrap up and next meeting on the agenda. And Lisa, I don't know if we have a next meeting scheduled. I'm assuming we'll try to do one in July with Stormy Lake after a couple more workshops.
Yeah, the only thing, did anybody from Stormy Lake stay on the call, or did they left? We will have to get back to everybody on that. I'm just thinking about the survey and review of the survey, and we could potentially do that you know, through email and get people's comments and input into the survey once it's done. And similarly with sort of data and results from the other workshops as Stormy Lake does them, but we don't have any additional speakers planned or prepared.
No, and we have a call, you and I, Lisa, with Stormy Lake tomorrow, so we can check in and follow up with this group if there's going to be a July meeting.
All right.
Do we have anything else before we go? Okay, thanks for being here. See some of you at the workshop next Tuesday. Looking forward to it. Yeah. Okay, thank you again, Bill and Ishnish. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Bill.
Great. Thank you, everybody.
Good night. Take care, everybody. Enjoy the sun.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thanks.